So guys, this one, here's what I want all of you to do. And I mean all of you. Firstly, I want you to breathe and relax, totally relax. And then just listen, all right? There's nothing for you to do, guys. You just listen. Now, as you're listening, I want you to think in terms of where you work, the business that you do, right? The organization that you belong to. And then try to understand the concept that's coming across and how does it apply. Okay, so there's nothing for you to do. The notes is already there on your rocks modules. So there's nothing. So for you to think about it and consider, right? Then you would gain something. And I think all you need to do, focus, as I told you, focus goes according to people's age, right? If you're 30 years old, the maximum you can focus is 30 minutes. So this will only take about 29 minutes. Average age, 29. It's true, it's true. The undergraduate class, the students, some of them are 22 years old, 23 years old. And with bad habits on the phone, they can only concentrate for maybe 15 minutes at the most, right? So it's just that's just the case, right? If everyone's okay with that and everybody's already seated comfortably, let's go through some of these points and you see whether it makes sense to you, okay? So one of the things, guys, before we start is you need to realize that a lot of people will say you need to do this and that, right? To strategically manage your organization. Yeah, you read that all the time, right? How to manage your resources, how to do this, how to do that. But too often, they do not come across with an interesting idea. Right? Yeah, it's easy to point out the problems, especially in hindsight. Something happened, then you say, yeah, I should have done that. A boss should have done that. CEO should have done that. It's easy to say that, right? But how do we think about it? How do we find ways to leverage, especially, and a lot of things can be done if your company is well-to-do, your company is making billions of dollars, you have so much resources, it's easy. But guess what? 99% of organizations don't have enough resources to do what they need to do, isn't it? It's always the case. If you ask Jessica, in terms of HR, yeah, she would like to hire the best people. Yeah, she would like to hire people in every department. Yeah, she would like to fill up the whole organization chart. But there's a lack of resources, isn't it? Always. Surely the CEO is complaining, right? Some of you in other organizations, right, you need more land. Simple as that. Some of you need more financing. Some of you need, there's so many needs. And always there is a lack of resources. So today in the second class alone, we immediately address the problem of this lack of resources and how do we go forward. Most strategic management textbook will tell you this and that, and even those who teach you will turn around and say, yeah, this is what we can do, this is what we can do. But the reality is, how do we address the core issue? And the core issue is when there is a lack of resources. Let's take a look at that and see what you think, okay? Hopefully we get some learning, and more important than just the learning and understanding is the application. Application to what? One is to the assignment. Itu yang penting. So that your assignment is different. Kalau tidak, your assignment will appear like an AI answer or like any other student's answer in any other university. Not interesting. Right? So we want to raise the bar a little bit. And you will be surprised. And I can almost guarantee you, if you just listen for the next 20 over minutes. Oh, I forgot. Next time before you all come to class, please measure the circumference of your head. If you have one of those cloth, those tape measures that are flexible, measure the circumference of your head. Because at the end, Gobi, don't laugh, Gobi, I'm telling you, it will be larger. Gobi doesn't trust me. Yeah, only Atika looks like she believes in me, but Gobi, I'm not happy with you at all. Anyway, let's get right to it, okay? So competitive strategy, acquiring, organizing, and managing resources, right? So this is just the intro to what we're talking about, right? Historically, one of the major people, even those days, people always lacked resources, people lack resources. And it was said that one of the main, how should I say, travelers those days, traders, one of the first and most famous one was who? Marco Polo. You all heard of Marco Polo, right? I'm sure you have. And why was he going around? Why was he going into territories that, hey, hello, they were considered dangerous, They were considered dangerous because those areas, you don't know the people. It was, pretty like jungle areas or, undiscovered areas. And he would go there and trade with people. Why? Because there's a scarcity of resources in different parts of the world. So he's one of the well-known ones. The question then is, wow, and that was so long ago, 1271, 1295. How did he travel? Ah, this is how he traveled. You see this? Where have you seen this ship before? Some of you
Malacca.
don't. Huh?
Malacca.
Not Malacca. Y'all are, ayo.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Pirates of the
Movie.
Caribbean. Bharat,
Johnny Depp.
Bharat is getting, I forget it. Bharat is getting an extra mark. That's it. Because he watches movies. In my class, if you don't watch movies, you're going to be lost. All right. So if you can look carefully at the picture, Johnny Depp is there on deck. But anyway, point is this. Pirates of the Caribbean is a good depiction of that kind of ship, the old ship. And by the way, guys, just I digress, but do you know there is a museum called the Vasa Museum in Sweden? Vasa, V-A-S-A. And Vasa is the name of the ship, just like this one. Now, why is that a museum about just one ship? Because around that time, when the ships were coming out of port, one of the ships actually sank into the Nordic waters. New ship, a few came out, one of it sank. And the chemical composition of the water was such that it preserved the ship. And in 1961, they actually brought the ship up. I don't know what the word is to bring the ship up, but they brought the ship up from the depths of the ocean, and the ship was well preserved. And today, that whole museum comprises that one ship. Right? And I happen to have been there, and I've actually walked into this ship. Guys, it'll blow your mind. You know why? The ship is like 3 stories high, No, those days they didn't have tools, machines and everything. So if you go to the sides of the ship, the walls of the ship, is very rough, You know why? Because they use an axe to shape the ship, to cut the wood. It's crazy, right? So if you don't believe me, you go to Wikipedia, you can check and see as well. So it's very real, and it's really quite enormous, because you think of those ships as small, but they're very large. They're 3 stories down, 3 stories down. And the amount of effort has been put in, right? Even though there were no modern appliances. So that's just something to share with you. Then we've got, let me just, I'm almost adjusting the screen here. What if you don't have any strengths? Yeah, so it's easy to talk about, oh, you can do this and do that when you have resources. But the crux of the matter is in strategic management, in my opinion, is what to do when you don't have it. That's a tough question. What to do when you don't have it? Okay, so having said that, just some points here, which says, today, for example, it's very easy to start a company, very easy, right? Whether it will survive in the long run or not, we don't know, right? If you go to, for example, in Chile, you can go online and you can start a company and close a company well within 24 hours, right? So everything's very fast, very efficient. But the point is, will it last? Will the company last? This is the issue that we talk about, right? Why do companies fail? This one you can read anywhere. many reasons: management, poor management, not enough funding, human failings. We can give all kinds of excuses. No qualified people, for example. And when we talk about resources, as a start, what are resources? Humans are also the part of the, I mean, we don't like to use the word resources, but they are fundamental part of an organization, right? These days, if you study, Jessica, do you know that people don't like to use the word human resources? So they say managing people, isn't it? Managing people. They don't, they don't want to be known as a resource, right? So instead of calling her Akila, we call her 001, right? We give her just a number. So if you go to Sunshine Coast University, where I used to teach with a professor there, and he was actually a qualified uh, psychologist as well. And the name of the subject was managing people. It's actually human resource management, but they call it managing people. So it's quite interesting. And you find that the component of psychology comes in, looms large in that subject matter, which makes a lot of sense. Because when you deal with people, uh, it's not like a chair or a table or funds. It's not like that at all, because it's about what people think and how they behave, isn't it? So psychology has to be a huge part of it, I think, and it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, so certainly many resources out there, right? But the most important thing to realize, right, is the idea behind the business, right? So the idea behind the business is key, right? As to how you want to approach the problem you're solving. It's assumed that when you start a business or you provide a service, you're solving a problem. The Americans say, what customer pain are you solving? The American looks at a business and says, what customer pain are you solving? So all of you can think about your own organization and ask the same question also. What customer pain are we solving? Why do you use the word customer pain? Why? Because if you don't solve a problem for the customer, why should he pay you? Isn't it? Why should he pay you? Right? A good example is if, let's say, in your house, that your tap is leaking. Every 1 minute, one drop. You didn't bother, right? You don't bother. Because it's just one drop. Usually the only one who'd be bothered is the wife. She'd be upset. But the guy is not bothered. He's just looking at me. I never bother. Right? Why? Because the pain, and you notice you don't want to call a plumber. You don't want to call a plumber. Why? Because it's expensive and it's very difficult. And you don't know whether the guy's still around. So, no need lah. Wait lah. And if your wife is like mine, she won't ask me to fix also, because she know I probably make it worse. Right? So, but if the leak is bad and it's spraying like a fountain, your kitchen sink is spraying like a fountain, what will you do? Straight away, you will call the plumber, isn't it? You find the plumber. Why? Because your pain is high. Pain is high. So you call the plumber. Otherwise, biasa je. It's usual. So the Americans ask the question, what is your customer's pain? Are you solving the customer's pain? So a lot of people, they go and set up something lah. They say, Nazmi, what business you want to set up? Nazmi says, oh, I think I will set up a cafe. Nazmi says he set up a cafe. Oh, that's good. Coffee, cakes. But here's the problem. In that same area, there are probably about 25 cafes. So the chance of his failure is very high. Why? Because he's not really solving a customer pain. The customer I can go to his cafe, I can go to another cafe, and I still can get coffee somewhere, somehow. Right? There's no differentiation. So this is a key point as far as business and concepts and ideas are concerned. All right. So on top of that, don't forget, when you don't have enough resources, chances are you're probably a new startup. On top of that, you got no reputation. You got no track record. What does that mean? That means the bank also will not give you any financing, isn't it? Your bank won't give you because you don't have a track record. You're new. That makes it even more difficult, right? So then we come to the question: how do we strategically maximize limited resources and stand out? How can we stand out? Because if you are new, people don't know about you, isn't it? People don't know about you. And don't forget, if you have limited resources, you are not like Coca-Cola, or you're like some large organization which can afford to spend billions on advertising. You don't. You are just one small business in one small place, and you know, and that market may not be large enough. Plus, there may be many competitors. So you can see, guys, I'm just trying to highlight to you what the problem is, what the situation is, and it could well be even applicable to even airlines, because even airlines has an issue with resources as well. So something for you to think about. Okay, so comes back to our topic: how to maximize limited resources and standing out. Okay, this is an example of standing out. An example. Is this standing out, being different?
Yes.
What do you think?
Definitely, Prof.
Definitely, yeah, standing out, being different. That's what we mean by standing out. Okay, is this standing out?
No.
Yeah. Look at the face of the cat, Prof. Look at the
Yeah,
face
lah.
of that cat.
He's the only cat.
Some of them can't tell the difference. Standing out, right? And one look is hard to differentiate, but standing out, isn't it? Huh? How about this? Standing
Yes.
out. If everybody stands at the bus stand,
Obviously.
yeah,
Obviously.
guys,
Obviously.
everyone
Not
stands at
standing out also.
the.
That is standing upside down.
Rosalia, this one, really, yeah.
Thank
My
you,
point
Rosette.
is, but Rosalia, you're right, because if everybody berdiri just standing there, what apa bezanya? No difference at all. But in order to stand out, you have to do something like, and very difficult, isn't it? Very difficult for sure. So standing out is difficult. That's the next thing you need to know. Standing out is difficult. It's not easy. Okay, you need to appreciate that. Okay, because in a crowded market with so many players, so many things going on. Okay, so, or another option is you can find the purple cow. The other option is because to stand out is so hard, you can find the purple cow. Now we're probably wondering, what is this purple cow? Atika, what color are cows usually?
It's black and white or brown.
Yeah, Atika knows her cows. Very good. Atika, you're right. Those are the colors of usually a cow. But now Atika is driving down. Okay, driving. Atika, where do you stay? In what area? Don't give us the address.
JB.
JB.
JB. Yeah.
JB. So she's driving around, then she passes a field. Atika passes a field. And guess what? On the field, suddenly you nampak, hey, there's a purple cow. Atika, what will you do when you see the purple cow?
And we stopped.
You will stop. That's right. You cause a traffic jam, and then what would you do?
I will take a picture and share to my family.
That's right. Exactly. Atika will probably take a selfie with the purple cow, and then it goes viral. It goes viral. Everybody begins to know. Why? Because Atika will pass it to Fatina. Fatina will look at it, right? And she will pass it on, and everybody looks at it. There you go. So we must find the purple cow. Basically what I'm trying to say is we need to get it viral. Let people know about what you're doing, right? And even in large organizations, sometimes you have got a special service. For example, airlines now have got what business economy in between. You got economy, business economy, and economy, right? Not something in between. But you already started this thing, or you have some new approach, whatever it might be, but people don't know about it, isn't it? People don't know. People don't know that you are different, you're differentiated, whatever. Right. So finding that purple cow, having people know about it, right, makes a lot of sense. Okay. Let me introduce you to this guy. Anyone know who this is?
No, Prof.
I'll tell you who this person is. His name is Otto Frederick Roeder. Otto Frederick Roeder. Otto Frederick Roeder. Now, what's the thing about Otto Frederick Roeder? Hold on, I'm just trying to find my controls. Okay, Otto Frederick Roeder. You ought to know about him, actually, to be honest. But essentially, he's the guy who came up with the idea for a bread slicing machine in 1912. Bread slicing machine in 1912.
Wow.
Yeah. Guys, did you know that before 1912, there's no such thing as sliced bread?
No.
Yeah. You guys are below, you believe roti and everything. You take it for granted, right? Right? What does your bread look like? Like this. Right now, cut already. You bought cut. You don't bring it home and cut. But before 1912, there's no such thing. People bought bread as a loaf from the bakery. Then they would go home and they would cut it. And if you actually, before 1912, you ask somebody, hey, why don't you buy sliced bread? You know what their reaction would be? Like this. Sliced bread? You must be kidding. You must be crazy. Because it never entered their minds that you could actually buy sliced bread, that it made sense. It's simple, but yet it was not accepted, not well received. Funny, isn't it? Right? And if you tell people, they'll say, you've got to be crazy. Well, we buy bread from the bakery, and no such thing as sliced bread, you know. And in French, they say, il faut être fou, which means you are crazy as well. That's in French, for those of you who are familiar. So here's the story. Here's the story, guys. This happened because this chap, Rowetta, just now I told you, he's actually a jeweler. He's not even a baker, you know. And he came up with the idea for a bread slicing machine. So he said that, hey, I come up with this machine and you can cut bread and slice it very easily. But the problem here was when Rowetta went and tried to sell it to the bakers didn't want to buy it because the baker says, why do I need a machine to slice bread? Because I sell the loaf as it is. So what did he do? He went to see his friend. His friend was Marion Frank Bench. There's this lady who worked at the Chillicothe Baking Company. So he looked for some support, right? And he said, please try lah, right? And she said, okay. Right? She said, okay. So what she did that. And the results were astounding because she started selling sliced bread. And suddenly they realized, and usually who buys the bread? It'll be the women lah. The women suddenly realized that, hey, when I buy sliced bread, when I get home, there's one less thing for me to do. That means I don't have to do one extra step. I go home, I can start serving the bread. And it made sense. And so everybody went to the Chillicothe company and bought bread from there. Interesting, isn't it? So what was he doing? Right? Found a solution to a problem. Okay. And that was very interesting. Okay. So our takeaway from that will be, who are your non-customers? Who are people who generally don't look at their company as providing a solution for themselves? Who are your non-customers? Now, further to that, where does this idea come from? Okay, it's very simple. It comes to some extent, it's linked to the Blue Ocean strategy. I'm sure many of you have heard of Blue Ocean, isn't it? Right? Blue Ocean strategy. What's the opposite of Blue Ocean strategy?
Red Ocean.
Red Ocean, that's right. Red, because everybody's competing, people and companies are dying, right? So you have the customers. Blue Ocean talks about soon-to-be non-customers, refusing non-customers, unexplored non-customers, looking for areas where there are new opportunities, new customers, new clients. Who came up with this idea? Professor Chan Kim, right? If you ever have a chance to go, how should I say, and attend a lecture by Professor Chan Kim, and I have. It's very interesting, right? He's a very small guy, but a very, very energetic young man, old man, I would say young man, very energetic and very inspiring, right? So he came up with this idea of non-customers, right? Right? Because all the while you're targeting the same people. Maybe you should look at elsewhere. Why are other people not using your services? Right? So very cleverly, very strategically targeting certain people. Okay. So, but in order for you to look for non-customers, my understanding is you have to usually need higher customization. Higher customization. And when you do higher customization, you can get higher margins, right? And if you do get higher margins, on top of that, you can get higher customer loyalty. Wow, right? Customization resulting in higher margins and higher customer loyalty. Wow, that sounds like a perfect plan. Can it be done? Yes. Good examples out there are Coffee Bean, Starbucks. You know, before this, people were buying coffee. You go to the normal kopitiam, how much? $3, $4. Now, when you enter one of these establishments, what does it cost you? 15 ringgit, 16 ringgit? Much higher. What were they doing different? They had higher customization because when Side goes in there, Side uses his own language. I want a cappuccino skinny to go. Woo. That's like,
What?
Side,
Cappuccino skinny.
you don't know what that means, ah? Come on, Side, you know, ah?
I prefer my cappuccino to be strong brewed.
Stronger. You see the language. So whatever you ask for, they basically what are they doing? They're customizing for you. And because of that, Side now has to pay an extra 12 ringgit over the price.
This is a
And
rip-off. This is a rip.
but here's the point. Rip off or not, here's the point. If you go to places like Starbucks, you go to places like Coffee Bean, you go to any of these coffee places, oftentimes you see the same people going in there. Repeat customers, right? Not because the customer wants to be seen there, right? And how are they customizing? Not only that, the cup, is it normal coffee cup? No, because they've written Side's name there, Side, and they spelled it S-A-I-D also. It's always like that. They always spell it wrong.
And thank you, Prof, for highlighting it.
Yeah, I know. I'm Roland, I'm Ronald. Everybody decides they give me even different names.
That's bad. That's bad.
I used to frequent Starbucks a lot a long time ago. I won't say a long time ago, before COVID. That time I was doing a lot of international research. So I traveled a lot. Why did I go to Starbucks? Because Starbucks is all over the world. And when I went to Starbucks, you see, if I have a coffee here in KL, then I go to Dubai, then I go to London, or I go to somewhere else, I can get the same thing. You understand? Just like McDonald's or any of these places, because they're all over the place, right? So that's why, but now that I'm here, once I'm back, I'm not traveling much. I don't do that anymore, right? But the takeaway for us is higher customization, higher margins, and customer loyalty. So this is the things that you want to think about, right? For your organization and in your assignment for your airlines. So the point to remember is this, right? Too often people talk about patent law, they talk about technology, well and good, but how to get your ideas to spread? How to get your ideas to spread? Do you know, many years ago, I used to travel a lot with my kids in the car, right? And we used to travel through some of the smaller roads through the coastal line and, you know, on the East Coast and everything. And sometimes there's no stop, they call it there's one of those highway stops, you know.
The R&R.
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 Yeah.
So those days, those smaller roads they don't have. Then suddenly we are hungry. Then what happens is suddenly we see one small makcik stall in one kampong or whatever. So we get down, we say, okay, we eat here. And you know, guess what? The nasi lemak is so tasty. It's so good. But guess what? There's only 1 or 2 customers and us, nobody else. Why? Because people don't know about it. If people know that this makcik can make this nasi lemak and the sambal and everything is like so delicious, there'll be so many people. So having great patent, having great technology is good, but how to get people to know about it? And as you know, there are many things out there that you don't know about, which maybe you need or that makes sense to you. Okay, so we are living in a century of idea diffusion. People who can spread their ideas, they can win. That is the trick, you know. And you'll be surprised. Some people, the ideas are not that great also, but because people know about it, people purchase, people use the services and so on, right? So idea diffusion, very important. So it's something for you to think about in terms of your assignment, how you can apply something like this as well, okay?
Hi, Prof. Is Matrade helping with that? Spreading ideas?
I don't know. That is their hakiki, I believe. Why, Putri, do you work there?
I know, because like in Dubai, there's a Matrade building,
Yeah,
but it's quite empty. So I wonder if,
quite empty.
yeah.
Hello, don't say like that. I'm sure there are more than a few mosquitoes and all. So,
No, I wonder, like, I wonder what is their
oh, I
strategy
don't,
to.
sorry, lah, Putri, I don't know. I don't know. You see, it's not fair for me to comment because I'm not in there. I've not worked with, I know of them for sure. I had my students deal with them many times. That was some time back before COVID times. But what they're doing right now and how they are operating, I'm not sure. But certainly that is their mission to promote the Malaysian product, as I understand. Right. So you can go to their website and have a look. And more than that, I cannot say. Maybe there's some areas that they are successful in. A lot of times, people make a comment on something which they don't fully understand, and that's not
Yeah,
right. So, like, if I
yeah.
don't know, I'll tell you I don't know. But certainly, they are an important, that's policy-wise, they are there for that reason to
Yeah,
try
yeah,
and
it's true, it's true. I
assist.
think they spread the Tongkat Ali coffee in the Middle East for that, yeah.
So something like
Yeah,
that. Those
yeah.
ideas, so yeah,
Yeah.
it's a tough job indeed. It's a tough job. But if they put Putri and me in charge, I think we can do interesting things, Putri.
Call me in, Prof. Call me in.
You see, the problem is Syed listens to the lecture. That's the problem. I'm hoping that he's the one
I'm
who's paying
hoping
attention.
I'm hoping to be a good team member.
Team member, there you go. Okay, guys. Hello. Stop changing my mind about what I'm discussing. I just spread wind. Who is this guy? Who's this guy?
The owner of Virgin, I don't remember his name.
Richard Branson.
Virgin, yeah.
Richard
Mr.
Branson. That's right.
Yeah.
If you know Richard Branson, what did Richard Branson always do? I mean, not so much now, but in the past, he used to do some crazy stuff, isn't it? So it always comes out in the news. What is it doing? What does it do? It draws attention. He's trying to get his brand name across, right? I introduce you to another guy. Who's this guy?
Bill
Bill
Gates.
Gates.
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates. What did Bill Gates do? That's this guy, I tell you what did he do? He went and gave his software, word software, for free. Semua orang boleh pakai lah. Semua orang boleh pakai. Then one morning he woke up. Oh, by the way, when you pakai, you click okay. Part one, there's one line there that says pay the tax, a license fee. Oops. But yeah, not expensive, but there's a license fee. Then Syed said, no way. I refuse to pay. I don't want to pay. Syed can. But the problem here, Syed, is that everybody now is using it. So if Syed doesn't pay, Syed cannot talk to anybody. He got no Word document. He cannot communicate. Right now. So what does he do? He has to pay. So a lot of things are out there today that are like that, so that made him. But the point is, when he first offers it free, everybody begin to use, right? Because as we know, everybody wants something for free. But Akila is not like that. Akila said, no, I only pay. I want quality. Akila, which is why you signed up. But never mind. Ideas that spread wind. Facebook is a good example, right? Facebook do you pay for Facebook? No, but is it useful to you? Yes, right?
Tesla, Prof.
When you don't pay for something, you must remember what is the product. You are the product.
Yes.
Betul tak? If you don't pay, you are the product actually, right? By the way, I'm not on Facebook. Don't look for me. I'm not on Facebook. I have a problem, you know. It's confession time. Confession time. Now everyone listen, like, y'all are very bad. Just because I reveal some weakness and you're all happy to listen. Good lah, y'all. Well, anyway, here's the point. When I had Facebook, I always get involved in technology because I'm very interested. I'm always involved in technology. And I had Facebook and I had 4,800 over friends. 4,800. Mr. Sin, 4,800 over friends, you know. A lot of people knew me. I didn't know anybody. Why? Because I have a problem. When people come and say, want to be friends, I cannot say no. I always click yes. Akila, is that correct? I click yes, yes, yes. And after a while, 4,800 over, and sooner, I think that time the limit, I'm not sure now, but the limit was like 5,000, which means you have to set up another sub account or whatever nonsense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy.
5,000 still.
You see.
5,000.
Still.
And then on top of that, here's masalah yang paling besar. It's this thing, I tell you, Facebook is a time stealer. I'll be on Facebook, so I do my work. I'm in my study because I am to do my work. I set up my computer, I'm doing my work. 15 minutes, I'm doing my work. Then I said, just check something on Facebook, just to see whatever. So I go on Facebook, I check. And then I look at my time. My God, I spent 15 minutes on my work, 45 minutes on Facebook. Nonsense. Nonsense. Ashraf, you don't
That's
laugh.
typical, Raf. I mean,
Huh?
that's why it was created at first place. That's the purpose.
So the point is, it's a time stealer. And you know what? I cannot control the people coming in, even though I let them in. And I spend time looking at nonsense, you know. My wife is different. My wife got no problem. 2-3 days, she go and check Facebook, 1-2 things she checked, that's it, she's gone. She has no problem with it. I cannot, right? I confess, I'm an addict. So what I do, I stop Facebook. I don't know. I actually stop it, guys. I'm not kidding you. It's a time stealer. I'm sure all of you look like you all are very disciplined and controlled people. Huh? Fantastic, lah. Good, lah, y'all. Faisal are laughing and thinking like, you know, it's only me. I know it's only me, but never mind, right? When
Now we
Simon,
have TikTok and Instagram, Prof.
I know. And when your
Oh,
assignment, Putri, when your assignment comes in late, I know why. Because when you're stuck somewhere, kejap lah aku. But I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok. I go in, I understand how it works. You know why? Because I teach a lot of these things. So I understand how it works, and then I don't use it anymore. Right. And the other thing that I'm investigating now is platforms. I don't know if I told you, but there's this book you gotta read. You gotta read this. I just got it. It's called Winning Through Platforms. Can you see?
Yeah, bro.
I told you about this before. Have I told you?
Never.
Then
I don't think
No.
so.
No.
No, I don't think
It's
so.
called Winning Through Platform. Now everything's about platforms. You've got Shopee, you've got Amazon, but understanding the business model for each and how it works is super important. And this is the latest book. You can't even buy it here in Malaysia. You had to order it through Amazon. It's a 2024 book, which means it's 2 years old. And I'm very ashamed to say that I'm reading a book because I don't like to read books, but I love to read this sort of books because it gives us a glimpse and understanding of the business models that work around it. Right. So if you ever have a chance, do try and get the book because it'll put you in the forefront of thinking as far as platforms are concerned. It's going to be very important in the next 4 to 5 years. So so I get involved in technology so that I understand how it works and then I come out of it. And I think, yeah, some of you may not. So Facebook, right? Spreading ideas, right? If you look at the old model, right, you've got how people used to sell things through TV. Right now, they put an advertisement. Remember those days you watch TV, then there's a long advert that comes on. Nowadays, you don't really get much of that anymore. And then what did people sell? Fast-moving consumer goods. Right now, you see shampoo ads, you see Dove, you see all of this standard stuff, you know. But that way of promoting something, that way of moving something, or spending a lot of money on adverts, that's old school already. Okay, a good example is Dove. Do you all recognize this brand? Have you seen this brand before?
Yeah.
Yes, Prof.
Right,
Yes,
now.
Yes.
It's
yes.
shampoo brand.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So they spend a lot of money, right, trying to advertise and promote their product. Okay, what do? They do a lot. They send out flyers, they put TV commercials, magazines, everything they do. A lot of things, spending a lot of money because they're a very large company, right? And they try to get your attention. I remember walking into Guardian Pharmacy, and I walked into Guardian Pharmacy. On the side there's a huge poster, the Dove poster. Right? I'm sure maybe some of you encountered that as well, right? And what do? I ignore. Someone like me, personally, I ignore. I walk in, I just ignore because I don't use Dove, right? I don't use any Dove products, so I ignore. So that advertising funding, as it were, is almost wasted, right? Why? Because I'm a macho guy. I use Adidas, right side, right? We don't use that.
We don't use Dove.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
don't
that's
use
right.
Dove.
So
I never touch Dove.
there you go, there you go. So you see, the advertising is wasted on me and side for sure. Okay, so I don't care. Okay, if you look at one of the key markets that you consider is Japan, right? Japan is a very, very, very competitive market, right? Coke comes up with a new product there every 3 weeks, right? You got green tea, Coke, you got different things like that they're involved in, right? Coke is not just involved in making drinks, but such a large organization who is constantly trying to innovate. What chance does the smaller businesses stand? Very tough, isn't it? Why? Because you don't have enough resources. You can compete with Coke. No, you can't. That's the reality, right? So when we talk about things like that, that's where we must have strategy right now. Otherwise, we talk about simple things. Yeah. Big company can do so many things. Easy. Small company doing different things, very tough, right? Let's think about that. Okay. Let me show you this one, this magazine. Have you anyone read this magazine?
Haven't, Prof.
No,
Ever?
not yet.
Never.
No, Prof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And many of
No.
you've not read it and you've not seen it as well. Neither have I, actually. Right? But what is this magazine about? This magazine is about water and only water, right? Nothing else. It's everything about water. The water from the rain, the water from the sea. When you sweat, the water that comes out of your brow, the water in the drain. It's a specialist book magazine that on water. Now, Nick Zatil, she's not interested, right? Sin is not interested. Faisal said, not interested. But the person who specializes in water will subscribe to it, not just buy, subscribe. You know why? Because they want to be ahead, isn't it? Because that is their field. They want to be at the forefront of that technology. Yeah. So you have not heard about it or read it, neither have I, but you know that this magazine is very successful. It's actually very successful. Why? Why? Because it is targeting that niche customer segment, very niche, isn't it? But those people will subscribe to it and be loyal to it. Okay. So
Is
you
it
can see
target
that.
to healthy people only, Prof?
No. I just told you it's targeted to water specialists,
Oh, okay.
not for healthy people. This is not a health magazine. It's water specialists. But why am I talking about this? Please understand, not because I'm telling you about it, but because I'm trying to help you to understand that the customer segment is niche. Instead of all of you being interested in, it is not interested in you. It's only targeted for that very specific water technician, that water specialist, people who are in charge of maybe dams, for example, people who are in charge of supplying water to cities, these people who are experts, who are scientists. It's for them, right? And they will be interested, right? So keep that in mind, right? So let me introduce you to another guy. Who's this guy? Who's this guy with a bad hairstyle?
No idea. No
No
idea.
idea, I say. What?
It's very bad hairstyle, bro.
Nicholas Copper. At least he
Yeah,
has.
hair.
Side, side. At least he has hair. Some of us don't.
Good point there.
Nicholas Copernicus. Nicholas Copernicus. Long time ago, this chap, right? Bad hairstyle, but guess what? He was a bit of a smart guy, right? Now, what's the big deal about Copernicus? I will tell you, okay? Now, Copernicus made the astounding claim that the Earth revolves around the sun and not the other way. Okay? Look at it carefully. Copernicus made the astounding claim that the Earth revolves around the sun and not the other way. Before Copernicus, people believed that it was the other way around, that the sun revolved around the Earth. Why? Faisal, I tell you, Faisal, if Faisal, I tell him tomorrow morning, I want him to go and stand in the field. So Faisal will go and stand in the field. And I want you to observe the sun. So Faisal will be standing there and he'll be seeing the sun coming up. Right now, Faisal, coming, going around. And if you
Yes, bro.
saw and observed that, what would your inference or your conclusion be? Your conclusion would be that the sun is revolving around the earth. Betul tak? And that's
Right.
normal. You see, before that, people believed in many strange things, right? People were praying to the sun, people were praying to the stones, and a lot of things a long time ago. And why I'm saying that? Because when Copernicus made this claim that it is the other way around, it's a very dangerous claim that he's making, you know, because some people who pray to the sun will kill him. They will kill him because they believe that the sun was their god or whatever was their god. So in that sense, it was really, really quite momentous, right? But he was a bit of a scientist. Now, the point is, the reason why people, if they stood there and they saw the sun going around, they thought that the sun revolves around. People make the same assumption. People are full of themselves. People are full of themselves. For people, what you need to understand, it's all about me. If you want to form a strategy, you need to remember that if people think everything revolves around them, when you look at something, right? When Kevin looks at something, Kevin is looking at it from his point of view. It's all about me. It's all about me. That's a stark, but reality, that's the reality. It's all about me. And here's the learning for today. Consumers don't care about you at all. Very sorry to share this with you. Consumers don't care about you at all. In fact, a research has been done. You know, if I'm selling a particular product, right, a commodity, like I was in the pulp and paper business, so I'm selling pulp. Pulp is the same. If I sell pulp, somebody else also sells pulp. Said is my friend, Faisal is my friend. They know me lah, so they buy from me. Very good. Very good. They support me. Why? Because my price and the competitor price sama juga. Right? He's putting up his hand. Wait, I haven't finished my story yet. So Faisal and Said supporting me, right? Why? Because my price is the same as competitor. But when my price, because it's a commodity, in this case, when it goes up by more than 5%, Said will go, Faisal also will go. You will stop supporting me.
Definitely, bro. Definitely.
Traitors. Anyway, the point is, we need to understand it's all about me. It's all about their business because they buy the pulp to make their product. If they buy from me expensive, but when they do their product, their cost is going to go up. Consumers don't care about you at all. Know that and understand that. Okay? Why? Because choices are many. Time is limited. Isn't it? If Said wants to buy computer, notebook computer. Well, he wants to buy. Hey, but Said's a busy guy. He's working, he's got family, he's got sports, he's doing so many different things, right? And on top of that, if he wants to buy a computer, he can go and check. He will go and check on the internet, do a comparison and everything. And because the internet, he uses the internet for free, he becomes the product. So the internet, after that, whatever he checks, also the computers are coming up, the adverts are coming up. And then sometimes, but he hasn't decided. He drives home from work, he'll see a big advertisement advertising some computer, right? So wherever he goes, he will see some. So the point is, Said's a busy guy. His choices are many, but his time is limited. This is
Correct,
the
Prof.
problem.
Correct.
This is the reality. All right, this is the
True.
reality today.
It's true.
Right? So what I'm trying to say is these are things that you need to understand. Consumers doesn't care about you, plus their choices are many, their time is limited. So this is challenging, okay? In a world with too many choices and too little time, what do? People ignore, right? And if you're an organization with limited resources, right, or a department with limited resources, you've got to remember that if you don't make your point, people are going to ignore you, okay? So you need to stand out from the herd. You need to find the purple cow, okay? And how do you do that? What gets done, what gets purchased, what gets built? Is it remarkable? This is the question you have to ask yourself. Doesn't matter whether a big organization, small organization, is it remarkable? Why should somebody use you? Why not they use Emirates? Why not they use Qatar? These are the top airlines in the forefront of whatever technology. Why should they use MES? Why should they use Air Asia? Right? And then the other question is, why don't they use Garuda?
Fear of falling, boss. Prof. Fear of falling.
Hey, hello. You don't destroy people's image and impression, make a bad impression on people's brand. Very bad. But
Sorry, Prof. My apologies.
I know. Then you must ask the questions. But sir, why don't you use Garuda? How come you use Emirates all the time? I'll tell you why. Because once I was in Indonesia, in Jakarta. Don't forget our HQ was in Indonesia, so I travel a lot. I was standing in the airport. Bloody, the airline is coming, Garuda. Faisal, I'm not kidding you, Faisal. This is real. Coming,
Okay.
the window is down. The bugger is smoking. The pilot is smoking.
So what?
And he's
Literally.
smoking. Faisal, bukan apa, gudang garam.
Suria, Prof. The other name.
Kalau if you're familiar, Indonesia, gudang
Yeah.
garam.
The critics.
So I don't know why, but my confidence level goes down now. You know, ayo, come on now. Please focus. Focus. So, right? And then you go to Emirates. Wow. Emirates aside, one step above professional. Even their stewardess is taller than me. I open my cabinet on top. I have to look like that. No? The stewardess will look down on the cabin box. They open. So
Walking, Prof.
so you see the standard line. So my point is it remarkable? Is it remarkable? Something for you to think about for your product, your service, whatever you're offering, right? If you look at movies, very famous movies are there many, isn't it? Many famous movies, Mamma Mia. But my point to you is, even though no matter how good the movie is, the top selling movie changes every week, isn't it? At one time, this Jackie Chan movie was very great. At one time, Avengers. After a few weeks, few months, gone, isn't it? Right. So my point is, it's very challenging. The environment is hyper competitive. This is what we need to understand, right? So those people who make movies and all, they are in that competitive environment, just like in airlines and in other industries too, right? The point to understand is we are now in the fashion business, no matter what we do for a living. We are in the fashion business, guys, right? Not people change their shoes. People change their clothes, not because it's spoiled. People change what they want to eat. People change where they want to shop, right? Today, this restaurant is very famous. After 1 or 2 months, you find that some other restaurant, it just changes. So it's all about fashion. Keep that in mind, right? Keep that in mind, fashion. I tell you another interesting this story about Aeron. Aeron chairs. You see, and this is a true story. Aeron chairs is a company in the US which was selling all kinds of chairs. All kinds of chairs. When I say they are chair company, they are serious chair company, meaning to say that they make chairs for classrooms, for theaters, for companies, all kinds of chairs. And the company, Aeron, was doing very badly, almost going to go under. Very, very badly. Right. And finally, one day, the boss of Aeron, he said, no more. We are not going to make all these different chairs anymore. We are only going to make one chair, and the chair is meant for the boardroom. A high-end chair that is meant only for CEO, managing director, chairman, that kind of standard, that kind of chair for the office. Not just even the normal office chair. So, in other words, from all the way here, he went to this. Right? Aeron, the owner of Aeron, I was so convinced that if he met with a managing director, he would ask the guy, excuse me, sir, what chair do you sit on? And if he did not mention Aeron chair, you know what he said? If you're not sitting on an Aeron chair, you are not really the MD. You're not really the MD. Because a managing director would sit on an Aeron chair only. And you know what? That approach, that approach to his business, it changed everything. It became a status symbol, and it made that furniture company become a billion-dollar company. Wow. That was interesting, isn't it? Why? Because from here, now he went here, right? Something to think about.
But sir, just want to, if let's say nowadays we talk like that, people feel very expensive or doesn't like last time, right?
Yeah,
Prof.
it is expensive, of course. They don't want you to buy. If it's expensive, that means you're not really the CEO lah. That's the point, you see. They don't want you to buy. It's true. Yeah, it's expensive. It's not meant for you. Sorry, you can't afford it. That's what Aaron was saying. You understand the concept, the idea. So
even the name, Prof. Herman
Yeah.
Miller.
yeah. So the point is, what companies normally do is they make average products for average people, ignoring the geeks or the lackers. This is the problem. Everybody try to make something that everyone can buy, right? They want, I want many people. For example, I've been a judge on so many of these pitch competition. The minute the person in front of me says that, I will have X amount of market percentage, which means I'll have 1 million customers, I know they're not going to work. I know it's not going to succeed. Why? Because they're aiming for the mass market. And the mass market is what? It's the red ocean. Do you understand? You see the point? The mass market is the red ocean because not only Mr. Sin is going for it, Sumati is going for it, Kevin is going for it, everybody's going for it because, you want to sell what? Cheap price, everybody buy. Red ocean, that's where people die. Right? Side, on the other hand, wants to go for the blue ocean. If somebody says they can't afford it, Side says, well, it's not meant for you. Not meant for you. You're not my target market. You're not my customer. Right? So this is what we're talking about. So what you want to try and do and think about, guys, is something that you probably learn in marketing at some point, right? Because don't forget, strategic management involves everything from marketing, operations, finance, and all of leadership, all of that. So I'll give you an example what we mean when I talk about geeks and lackers. Okay. Now, if you look at this, what do you see? You see a product life cycle, isn't it? I'm sure you've come across this, where they talk about different phases, right? The different phases. You've got introduction of the product, growth of the product, maturity, and decline. Why? Because when we want to sell to everybody at a price that everybody accepts and well-established product, you are probably in the middle somewhere, right? Where you can get the highest sales, right? But a lot of people are competing in that area, okay? But what you want to try and do is, especially when you don't have enough resources, is to focus on the geeks. Who are the geeks? I give you an example of handphone. Some people want to buy the latest handphone. And when you buy the latest handphone, low, it's expensive, right, Simon? Expensive.
Yes, yes,
The
yes.
latest one you buy is expensive. You buy the model 2 or 3 away, it's cheaper. But there are people out there who always want to have the latest in terms of technology, right? If you look in Singapore and many of these places, some people will camp outside the shop, They camp overnight just to to be the first to own the product. These people are geeks. They are crazy and interested in technology or whatever reason they will spend. And there are in many industries, there are many people who are geeks like that, who are willing to pay that high price. It's not to say they don't know that they can get it cheaper after 2 years, but that's not the point. Right? It's just that. So we want to aim for those sort of people. These are the geeks. Now, who are the lackers? Lackers are people who don't care. A good example of a lacker is who? My mother. My mother, Syed, I'm not kidding you, Syed. My mother has a handphone. My mother doesn't know.
I
If
mean,
you
all
ask my mother,
mothers.
General speaking, yeah.
my mother, if you ask her what's the brand, she doesn't know. She doesn't care. All right. She just wants to talk on the phone and can hear is fine. And even though that, the phone, she's still shouting in the phone. I keep telling mom, look, it's not a she's thinking, how is the thing so small? Can they hear me? Isn't it? But that's of course an extreme example, okay? And by the way, aside, almost every other week, I have to go and recalibrate my mother's phone because I don't know where she pressed something.
By the way, Prof, my mother still uses so-called like 3310 phone,
What phone?
the Nokia 3310, the
3310.
1990s one. Yeah,
3310.
3310.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that kind of type.
my point is this. Do you know that there are some people, even younger people, who don't care about brands, They don't care. They will use an old phone, even clothes, they will use simple old clothes. I had a Gap student from the UK who stayed in my house she came in for about, in the UK, they have this thing called the gap year. That means you finish your high school, Form 5, and you can take a year off before you enter university. And you can go anywhere. So in her case, she came and she stayed about 8 months or so at our place. And what I found very funny is that we Malaysians are a little bit more brand conscious lah. We want to buy clothes with some brand. She didn't care. This girl doesn't. I don't know why, but she doesn't care about brand. She just use whatever. And I found that quite interesting and quite useful. So there are many young people out there who are also like that. Doesn't mean it's just old, right? So that's another interesting market. In Singapore, for example, they actually made a phone. I'm not sure who manufactured it, but they made a phone for senior people. This is a small market, isn't it? It's not for everybody, right? You ask Simon, you ask Sumati to buy this phone. No lah, they don't want. They want to buy the latest Samsung lah or Apple lah, because they are very changgeh, whatever lah. So, but there are people who are maybe like we said just now, maybe in their 70s, 80s, or not so good at technology. So in this manufacturer made the phone where the number is bigger, the letters are bigger and easy. And then on top of that, in the phone, there's a panic button, a special panic button where they press, maybe can contact their kids or nurse or whatever. So
Like an SOS button, Prof.
so it's meant for the lacquers, a different segment. And these people, what happened? When Sumati goes and sees her mother, Sumati says, Mom, I don't think you can use this Apple phone. Forget it. I'm going to get you this phone. Right? So she will buy it. Even the phone may be a bit expensive to buy because it's more suited for them. Because it's an interesting market. And you know what? Samsung is not fighting there. Apple is not fighting there. All the new phones are not, brands are not fighting there. But they are fighting where the largest profits are. You go there. Do you see my point I'm trying to make? Right? So you target the geeks, either that or the lacquers or something like that, where there is less competition. Why? Because you don't have resources. This is what you need to understand. Okay, so that's the purpose. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is to be successful, the new strategy should be to not go for the mass market. Aim for the gig slackers, because here's the interesting thing. When you talk to them, they listen. Why? Because if I go and tell Sumati, hey Sumati, this one is good for your mom, and she's got a mom, we know already she has a mom who's maybe who needs it, she will listen because she wants to know, right? Right? She wants to know. You go and talk to Simon, hey Simon, hey, this one very good for your parents. Simon will listen because he's concerned
yes.
about his parents, things
Yeah.
like that. So this is how it applies, guys. And also, why do I say that? Because Simon's running his own business. Simon doesn't have time to go and talk to many people. His business is small. His resources are limited. So he must pick and choose and speak to people who will listen, not speak to. He go and speak to Syed. Syed's not interested. Syed is a young man. He's traveling everywhere. This is not so much his concern, right? Syed is more interested in the new technology, for example. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is, if he talks to Syed, maybe, but Syed is not his target. He speaks and there's no outcome. He speaks to Sumati, there could be an outcome. This is how we want to understand it, right? The next word I want to introduce you to is this word called otaku. Anyone know what this means? Otaku.
No
Okay.
idea, sir.
Nerd.
No
No
idea.
idea.
It's
Don't know.
it's not no Solehan is not your brain. Solehan. It's actually obsessed or passion. It's actually a Japanese word, guys. It's a Japanese word. Okay.
Yep.
Otaku. So what do we mean by otaku? Okay. I give you an example, right? I always give you examples so I help you to understand. If you look at this car is maybe worth, I don't know, 100,000 ringgit, maybe, right? But the speakers in the car is worth about 80,000. Wow. Right now. Why? Because the person who drives this car is an audiophile. Audiophile meaning he's like crazy about sound. People who are crazy about sound, right, they will spend on the speaker, on the player, isn't it? They're crazy. Not like me, lah. I buy a car, means that's it. I never do anything to the car. The sound is the same, whatever came from the manufacturer. But if you're crazy about sound, you want to know about sound, you go to Mid Valley. You know Mid Valley? Everybody? Mid Valley, also known as
Yeah.
Man Valley. Also known as Ramai Orang. Mid Valley, you go to garden. It's called garden, right? Apa nama dia?
Yeah, garden.
Yeah, the
garden.
garden. The garden.
Garden mall.
Yeah, the garden.
Part of the Mid Valley is garden, right? And you go to their audio shop. Hazila, I'm not kidding you, Hazila. You pergi sana, the cheapest thing is $100 or $1,000, $100 over
I
K.
know.
Yeah, you see, Hazila knows because she's gone there and bought many times already. Someone like me,
Wow.
I go.
Wow,
She
Azila.
said she knows. Hazila, when I go there, I realize that I must work harder and for another 100 years. Yeah. So but here's the point. When somebody is very interested in sound, they will be willing to pay. They're willing to understand, right? So if you are selling speakers, if you're selling speakers, you would go, that Hazila is interested in sound, right? Whatever speakers you're
I
selling,
just know.
you just know, you go and talk to Hazila. Why do you talk to Hazila? Because Hazila, even though if she doesn't buy from you, she will listen to you because she's very interested. They're crazy about sound. She wants to know what's the new technology, how is it different, and there's a high chance that she might even purchase from you because you have targeted the right people. You are not spending time on other people. On the other 199 students in this class, you don't waste your time, right? Because they are not otaku about sound. So what does that tell you? You have to focus on the right people, okay? I show you another example. I wanted to ask you, what is this guy obsessed about? What is he obsessed about?
The light.
Lighting.
Lights. Oh my
Lighting.
God.
Lights.
Wow.
Right.
Wow. I
Decorations
knew this house.
lights.
I knew this house.
I
From
think on
somewhere.
the top one.
I think I know this.
At UST.
Wow.
ICT.
Alamak,
This is your
ICT,
house.
what?
And then is a
This is
house
your
someone
house.
decorate.
Christmas.
Your
My
house,
God.
Doctor, Doctor, your house.
That's right. This joker,
Prof, it's your house.
yeah,
Oh my
this
God,
joker
Prof.
is crazy about lights. He has lights. He knows a lot about lights from China, from Europe, from UK, anywhere, even in Malaysia. Who makes the lights? Who does what? What does the light do? What is the latest type of light? And if you go and talk to him about lights, and you want to, maybe you're a business selling lights, this is the right person to speak to. Right? I know that firsthand. And my wife is very sad, but never mind. So my point is this, guys. Share your ideas with people who are listening. Itu yang penting. Share it with people who are listening. Why? Because you have very limited resources. You cannot spend time just talking to everybody. You cannot spend millions doing your advertising. Okay. Okay. So yeah, let me just move this up. Let me show you this company. I think many of you may know this. What company is this?
Harley Davidson. Motor.
Harley Davidson.
Yeah.
Motorcycle company.
The motorcycle company, the Harley.
The king of motor.
King of motor,
Handsome,
motorcycle
handsome
company.
motor.
Yeah. I know some of you got a few in the garage, but that's okay. My point is this. This is Harley Davidson, right? So let me just this is what it looks like. Isn't it beautiful? Isn't it beautiful? I'm talking about what's the bike, not what's on the bike. So Faizal, stay focused, guys. Stay focused. Anyway, so the point is, Harley Davidson is not a motorbike company. You all thought you all knew now. Yeah, it's not a motorbike company. Sorry to say. Okay. Now, why do we say that?
Sorry to interrupt. I think Miss Vidya Vijayendran has to mute her mic, and she's walking.
Who is that?
Vidya Vijayendran.
Vidya. Why is she? I
somewhere.
can't see lah. Is she dancing in the background or something? What's she doing? Who is she? I don't know. I can't see this.
Prof, you
Yeah,
can mute
thanks for
also,
that.
right? I think you have the rights to mute the person.
I have the right. Oh my God, I've never.
You go and
muted
find
everyone.
the person picture, then you can.
Wait, let me look. Let me look. Okay, now I know. Okay, wait, let me look. Looking and looking and looking. She's making lunch or something like that. Where is she?
I think he's on a trampoline.
Oh, got it. Lingeswaran. Lingeswaran, can you hear? Are you listening? Are you there? Ask to unmute. Ask to mute. Can you mute her? Has he muted? I'm not sure.
Yes,
Already,
Yes,
Prof.
already.
Yes, Prof.
Already.
Thank you.
Done.
Yeah. So don't do that. You are interrupting all my studious students. Actually, I never unmute anybody, never. But never mind. Coming back to yeah, Harley Davidson is not a motorbike company, right? As much as we like to think. Harley Davidson is a company, right? That is what? Selling an experience. I'll give you an example. Right? They're selling an experience. Okay, what does that mean? That means, very simple. If, okay, let's check. Ilham, where's Ilham? Oh, I saw him just now. Ilham. So Ilham, if Ilham, he looks like a Harley Davidson customer, I'm just using him as an example.
I wish, Prof.
See, on top of that, he's modest also. You see, what a wonderful guy. So anyway, the point, Ilham, if Ilham had $200,000 in his pocket, 200,000, and he went to the Harley Davidson shop to buy a bike, right? But the bike costs 250,000. But Ilham already has cash, 200,000 in his pocket, and he says, "I want to buy this bike." And you tell them, "Hey, reduce the price lah. I paid 200,000. I want this bike." Right? They will say no. Then Ilham said, "What nonsense! I can get a Ducati, a Yamaha, Kawasaki, for this sort of prices. Why can't you give me? Harley will say no. Because it's not just about the bike. When Harley sells you something, Harley is selling you an experience. Because you will find that you get to join the Harley Club. You get to buy the Harley accessories, right? You get to be a Harley person. And one of you just now mentioned brand, image, all of these things, right? So Ilham is not just paying for the bike, not paying for the mechanics of the bike. It's much more than that. You notice the price difference? You're paying more, isn't it? And Ilham, what will Ilham do? Ilham has no choice. You can go out there and buy a Ducati, or you can buy a Yamaha or something. It's not the same thing. Even the sound is not the same. Ilham. So Ilham is stuck. Ilham has to think about it. Right? What should he do? So why is Harley able to do that? Because what they are selling is actually a 43-year-old accountant to dress in black leather, ride through small towns and have people be afraid of him. That's what they're selling. Now, what does that mean? That
Why a
means John,
43-year-old, Prof?
yeah. So John Smith, in this case, John Smith, whoever he is an accountant. He goes to the office on Monday. He wears his long sleeve shirt, he wears a tie, he sits in the corner of his office, just an accountant, no? He's doing his work. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. A very timid guy at the corner of the office, accountant. You know. But on Saturday, John Smith transforms, right? Saturday, John Smith looks like this. Now he drives out. Now he's the man. Now everybody's afraid of him because he's wearing his leather jacket and everything. You see how he transforms? It's different, isn't it? The impact is different. Because why? Because they're selling the experience.
Sorry, Prof. Is it selling experience or you selling image? Meaning that he can become another person instead of an accountant.
Call it what you want. The important thing is the paisa. You're paying an extra 50 or 100,000. That's the most important thing. Call it what you want. Brand image, you want to call it perception. Doesn't matter. The point is, by selling that point, that other intangible, right, you are able to get a higher price. And when you have limited resources, that's really what you need. That's the reality. Okay, that's the point. That's the learning. Okay, so what does that mean? That means you concentrate on the user experience, not just the pixels. You understand? It's not about the product, but what the product brings to you, right? The experience, a lot more than that. And you find that even though you are a smaller company, you're less well known, you have that opportunity to do that because now you can customize things for people, right? You can attend to your customer. Big companies usually cannot do that. Very hard. Okay. So the question you want to ask yourself, especially in your assignment, is how can your company provide that experience? So it's application, something for you to think about. How can your company provide that experience? Okay. Let me show you another example to make the point. This is a nice car. How many of you has got this car?
Never
Not
in
me.
my
I do,
life,
Prof.
Not me,
never.
not me.
Not me. I think
I
you,
own
sir.
one.
Dream.
Maybe Prof has
Only
one
in
already.
dream, Prof.
The dream never
Azila
came
can buy
true.
expensive speakers, but she cannot buy it because she doesn't care about this much, I think.
I have a diecast
I-
model, doctor.
Barat, don't be so trustworthy.
So my point is
You
this.
just own it. You just own it.
You see, this is of course a Ferrari, right? And Mr. Edwin Fenech became the president and CEO of Ferrari China. Now, what's the big deal? The point is this, guys. When Ferrari went into China and Edwin Fenech became the CEO, everybody told Edwin, hey, good job, man. Good for you, like, because China is such a huge population, 1.4 billion, and they have 300 over million multi-millionaires in China. Huge. Malaysia has got a population of what? 33 million? 33 million. They've got 300 over multi-millionaires and billionaires. What does that mean as a market? A lot of cars. You can sell a lot of Ferraris, isn't it? Wow, this is a great market. That's why people were saying, Fennec, wow, congratulations, man. You're good. You're in a good place. Very good place. Okay. So, was he in a good place? You know what Fennec would reply to them? You know what Fennec, when people say that, you know what Fennec would say? Fennec said this. We want to sell one less than demand. Fennec said, we want to sell one less than demand. What does that mean?
Mean that they want to be very
Limited exclusive.
limited and demanding
The niche.
to raise the
Only afford
value
2020 only.
of
The
that.
niche.
So if there's a demand for a particular model, let's say there's 1,000 cars, they are making only 50, or
Limited
they're only
version.
making 100, and that's it, right? In other words, even if you have the money, you cannot buy, isn't it? Even if you have the money, you cannot buy. So why can't your company be like that? Why can't you offer the product like that or service like that? Does that mean you have to sell to everybody? Does it mean it has to be cheap? No, right? Why don't you sell something that's one less than demand? Okay. Somebody says, Syed, I want to use your services. Oh, sorry, I'm booked until next year. Can you speak to my secretary and we'll talk about it? It's like, right now, wow, that's a good place to be. Atika is making a very special kueh. Oh, it's a great grandmother's recipe and she's guarded it well. And only she can make it. Very tasty. But also, she's also a small business. She's just starting. She don't have much resources. Right? Only her kakak wants to help her, nobody else. She can only make 50 pieces a day. Is that bad? No, because it's remarkable. Everybody wants it. It's fine. If people sell the same kueh for 10 ringgit, she's selling it for 55. 55. And in one box, you've got to pay almost 250 ringgit. You go and ask Ilham, hey, Ilham, you want to take this for 250 ringgit? I say, Ilham said, no, I don't want, I won't pay. It's okay, you're not my customer. Atika told Ilham, you're not my customer, go away. Don't darken my shadow. Why? Because her customer is people like Syed. Syed knows quality, Syed got taste. He wants that, right? Her customer is like Fatina, because Fatina, she knows this is good. And she had to book and wait for 1 month before she can get the kueh. Why? Because Atika is busy doing her assignment. No, I'm just kidding about that part of assignment. You see the point I'm trying to make. Atika came for my class and she said, no, I'm not selling. Any of you are in business tomorrow morning? Monday morning first, anybody who calls you, want to place the order, you said, nope. No. Right? And the following week, when you see me, you'll be out of business. I'm just kidding. But try it. Atika, just try it. What the heck? You got nothing to lose, one life. Try it, man. No. We're booked. We'll book till next month. After Raya, maybe let's see. Closer to Christmas, I take your order. Wow. The word will spread. You know, Atika punya kita kena booking ni. And suddenly, everybody's interested. Maybe. I don't know. Right? Can you be the Ferrari? I don't know. You try.
Yeah, I can try.
You can try. Yeah, of course you try. Try. By all means, do try. So if you look at cameras used to be like this, guys. Cameras used to be. It is what is known as a DSLR camera. I hope I'm not boring you, and I don't know what time it is. I'm taking too much time.
Yes,
This
yes.
is a
DSLR.
DSLR camera. Do you know if you buy this
DSLR.
camera, literally they will
Very
provide you with
expensive.
lessons, you know. They will provide you with lessons. I will tell you about another weakness of mine. This is the sad thing.
Gosh, Prof.
All these weaknesses are, by the way, my wife only discovered after she married me. Before that, I never knew. It's also a strategy.
Same as me, Prof.
Is it? I was like,
Wow.
my wife
Prof.
discovered all these weaknesses after.
Someone mute, please.
The Siti Nurul Hasani.
Yeah.
I say, apa lah ni? Kacau kelas saya. Siapa tu? Please, guys, try and make sure your phone pula, your whatever is mute. Okay, so anyway, here's my weakness lah. My weakness is when sometimes I'm interested in something. When I get interested, I'm a bit overly I will go all out, So at one time, I'm not kidding you, guys, this is real. I was reading a National Geographic magazine. You know National Geographic, those magazines that you see, sometimes you go to a dentist or whatever you see. Those are fantastic magazines, and the gamba, wow, really beautiful. No? And I was like, that's it. I want to do that. I want to take these amazing pictures. They're so beautiful, And how do you do that? You can't do that with a normal camera. No. With me, I have to go all out. So what do? I go to this high-end Changi photography shop selling expensive photography equipment like this one. So I buy, right? Note, Atika, I don't know anything about photography. I really don't know anything. So the guy says, okay, sir, it was a Friday. This is not kidding. I bought on Friday. The guy says, sir, we have classes for this. You can come on Saturday between 2 to 3 o'clock, and we will show you how to use it and show you all the technical. I say, okay, fine. I'm really interested, right? I really am. So Saturday I go there. I'm early for class. And unlike all of you, I sit in front of the class because I want to learn. So then they come in, the technical guy, the so-called expert on the camera, he's going to teach me. I want to learn. And unlike y'all, I also got paper and pen. I sit in front, come and take some notes. So the guy's explaining and explaining. At first, I'm okay, I can understand. After that, it becomes a bit technical, like aperture, all this nonsense terminology. So, but I try. What can I say? I try. And then finish at 3 o'clock. Okay, fine. I think I know a little bit. And so excited. Sunday morning, early, I go to the Padang, where there are a lot of bushes, plants, butterflies. Oh boy, am I going to take some pictures, guys. National Geographic in my head. And then I take the camera. And I can't remember the thing the guy taught me, yesterday. I don't know what's for what. Atika, the great sadness, spending thousands. I put on auto and I click. That's it. It's just on auto. I can't figure out the technicalities. So what does that mean? It's money down the drain. It's nonsense. Right?
Do you still have it, Prof? The camera?
I don't know. I probably do. It's probably in some cupboard somewhere.
If you able to find it, mind to share what's your price?
Oh, you buy old camera. That's a good idea. Let's think about that.
Yeah.
So my point is, not only for that, anything that I do, and then I took up tennis. My wife will have cold sweat now when I take up something new, Sebab they know. I take up tennis, I buy the expensive tennis shoe, tennis racket, expensive one, probably McEnroe also can afford. And then only lasts for a few months because I finally realized that I can't play the damn game. It's really hard. It looked easy, when you watch Wimbledon. Side, you watch Wimbledon. Okay, the ball,
Occasionally.
but the ball keeps going over and coming back. But when I hit, the ball never comes back. I don't know where it went. But meanwhile, I've already spent a lot of money. And now my latest obsession is running, right?
Wow, Prof, really? You're into running right now?
Yeah. I'm into running. I'm into running.
Did you register for the Standard Chartered just a week ago?
No, I didn't. This year I'm not registering for any race. I've run 2 marathons already and a lot of half marathons, but this year I'm not, because this year I've got a lot of consulting work. So I'm really quite busy. Maybe after July, maybe I might sign up for some races, but not just now. The point is, I buy expensive shoes, right? Because I think it'll help me. What I don't realize is I don't have ability, right? So I think in my mind that if I buy expensive shoes, I'll be able to run faster. In other words, I'm a sucker for the advertisement. I'm a sucker for that. I see the advertisement gun, I will think, oh, must be really good. You know, hey, hello, Kairunisa, you betul tak? You go to the to any of the sport shop outside the big mirror, the big poster, the guy is running like on air, you know, it's not even sweating. The poster flying. And I think that I can do that with that shoe. Buy the shoe.
Yeah,
But it's
true,
hard.
Prof.
But actually it's really hard. It's nonsense. And the best part is, if I learn from it, tak apa. I keep making the same mistake over and over and over. I have a few $1,000s worth of shoes in my cabinet.
What
And
shoe size are you on, Prof?
Yeah, I
Your
just
shoe
wanted to
size.
ask the same question, Said.
Yeah, yes. Thanks, Karinisa.
What size are you?
Yeah,
I'm
what
size
size are you, Prof?
10, UK 10.
Okay,
UK
never
10.
mind.
Okay,
I'm going to mute right now.
cancel.
So anyway, well, that's my sad story. My wife gets worried when I get something new. I get very worried because she know I'm going to spend a lot of money on it. But you all are good. But cameras are nowadays like this. Right now, cameras are intuitive. You can take a picture, you can send it straight away. Guys, I went for lessons for classes. When you get a new handphone, Nurul, when you get a new handphone, other time you will read the manual. There's no manual, right? You just use it straight away, back forth. It's called intuitive. It's very intuitive. It corresponds to you, right? It's not like those days, right? So this is very important, isn't it? The point is, what we're trying to say is the experience is the brand, guys. The experience is the brand. Okay. So when you talk about airlines and everything, you want to think along those lines as well, right? Why did Apple suddenly become so successful? Apple became successful because of its user interface. Do you know that a long time ago, there's no such thing as you swiping, your
Yeah.
screen right now. You
Touch screen.
cannot swipe your screen. There's no such thing. Apple introduced that. And I tell you one very interesting thing, my house at the time, I'm upstairs and I have this screen, TV screen on the wall, right? So I'm upstairs and that's my sanctuary. Nobody comes there. Then, of course, my wife got some visitors and everything, some people there. And suddenly, one little girl, 4 years old or something, she climbed up the stairs. I think no one noticed. And she came to where I was watching the screen. She looks at the screen and I'm like, who this girl is? Who's this little girl? She goes to the screen, up to what? She goes to the screen and she's swiping the screen. She's swiping my TV screen. She has no business being there. But when she does that, why does she do that? It's so intuitive. They learn so fast, right? It's so natural. So bringing that experience, how powerful is that, is what we're saying, right? That user experience. I tell you one story to explain what I mean. If you look at this, this is a paint company. This is a true story, guys. You got to listen to this one. This is a paint company in Europe. This paint company was doing very, very badly, and they were going under as well. Right? How many of you have painted in your house, your room, your house? How many of you have done painting? Right?
Me.
Simon says he has. Nurul. Mostly, I can see the ladies
All
putting up
have.
their hands. Okay. The guys are not putting up their hands because the guys are like me. I let my painting be done by my wife, right? Why? Because it's hard work. The can is very heavy. And then to open the can, you must use a screwdriver and you must open and then you must use it carefully, you must close it properly. If you don't close it, and then it's very messy. And then if you don't close it properly, it hardens. So when work is difficult like that, I leave it to my wife, let her do. Do you
Oh, just call vendors.
Oh, what?
because
Leave it to your wife.
I cannot do that. Tan is smiling. I'm wondering, Tan is smiling whether he's smiling because he does it or he doesn't do it. Tan, are you a painter or do you let your wife do it?
We will do it together, Prof.
as I love my wife very much.
Such a bluffer. I don't believe. Yeah, you know why? Dia takut kena marah. So he said, come, I do it with you.
So
But while she's
sweet.
doing it, he's probably doing something lah. Where are you? Where are you? I went and get water. Half the time he went and get a drink. And I'm just joking now. I'm sure you all are much better. All of you are much better than me lah. But what I'm saying is, when you paint, one of the difficulties, the paint can is heavy, gun is heavy. Now, what this paint company did, right? What's the name of the company? Dutch Boy. Dutch Boy did. One of the people there said they made the paint can smaller with a handle, so it's easy to carry. You notice. And then on top of that, remember I told you the paint can very hard to open, so they made a twist-on cap. Another problem with paint is when you take the can of paint and you pour, it spills all over, right? They made the cap with a nozzle. What does that mean? That means when you pour, it won't spill. Do you know that the nozzle is actually a patented item? So sometimes when you drink tea, you make tea, you have your, what do you call that? Kettle, not kettle. When you pour tea and then you
Teapot.
the teapot. Yeah, like your English lah. Teapot. Side teapot. The teapot, do you know the nozzle? This is learning for you. It's actually a patented thing, you know. So sometimes when you buy a teapot that is not so good, when you pour the tea, the water, the tea or whatever will drop from the side, right? It falls on the side. Have you noticed, some of you? It falls. So that's, you know why? Because that's not a patented design. The good one, when you pour and you bring it down, it doesn't spill. It doesn't drop or come down the side. So you can go and tell your mother-in-laws that lah. But anyway, my point
Mother-in-law.
Mom, your pot lah, lousy one. So anyway, coming back to our story. So now you made it smaller, you made it with a handle, you made it twist on, twist off, you had a nozzle. Suddenly it's easier to paint. And last time when you sell in cans, usually you sell to people who want to buy a lot. But when you made it smaller, now you can sell, Dutch Boy Paint could sell direct to the end user. Rather than last time they always sell to a lot of wholesalers and everything. Now they can sell direct to the end user, which means their margin is higher. Now with this sort of changes, it saved the company. It saved the company because now suddenly margins were higher. They had a bigger customer base, right? And this is what happened. Dutch Boy Paint can save the company. You see? So even though it's not just about, it's about ideas, isn't it? It's about ideas, right? So my point to you guys is that you don't have to be outrageous. Just figure out what people want and give it to them. Which means we come back to the American saying. What is the American saying? The American saying is, the businesses will ask this question, and you can write this down. What is my customer's pain? Write that down. What is my customer's pain? So when you are analyzing the airlines, you should ask that. Yeah, we've got MAS, Air Asia, Malindo, Scoot, you got everybody. But really, what is the problem with for customers? Yeah, everybody got the same service, but punctuality. Most airlines are not punctual, right?
Yeah.
Most airlines can even lose your luggage, but how do they compensate you? Oh, this is a big problem. Surin, when she traveled the last time, she went to London, her baggage didn't come. So for 3 days in the meeting, she wore the same clothes. People were getting a bit suspicious. They thought the aircon wasn't working. Surin, I'm just joking. Surin, because
Yeah, no problem.
Surin was wearing that because her bag, you see, it's a problem for Surin, isn't it? Her baggage got lost. But maybe your airline can say, look, hello, we're taking a step ahead because I know that's a big problem for you. If ever that happens, Surin, on the spot at the airport, you walk out, your bag is not there. We'll have somebody, concierge service, who will take care of you, spend £1,000, buy the clothes for you in whatever country you are, make sure that you are well clothed. so that people won't think that after 3 days, the aircon's not working. Surin, does that make sense to you? If I was an airline, I told you that, will you like to use my airline? What do you think, Surin?
Of course, we would want to go for the high service, right, Prof? So if
There
somebody is
you
able
go.
to offer
Surin has said it.
extra mile, why not?
Exactly. Surin said it, and we all believe her. And so should you all too. That's an example of how it applies. All right. So I want you to think about that and reflect on it and ask the question, what is my customer's pain? I want to see how many of you use that in your assignment. That'll be very, very interesting. Right. So the new model. What is the new model? Find that purple cow. New model. Find that purple cow. Okay. So you've heard a lot of P's. You all have studied marketing, right? Jessica, did you do marketing as one of your papers?
Yes.
Yes. And you heard of all the P's, right? Place, promotion,
Yes.
marketing teacher. But have you heard of the most interesting P called the purple cow?
No, though purple is my favorite.
Exactly, exactly. Your lecturer should be in my class because
this
you
is the
heard
first
it first
time.
here. You know, in 1,000 years from now, when I'm walking in a shopping complex and somebody says, "Hey, sir, how are you, sir?" I won't recognize them, but they will look at me and they say, "Sir, you don't recognize me as sir?" Purple cow. Yes, I know you're my student. Siti. I'm walking
Yes,
in a mall. I'm walking in a mall, and suddenly I hear somebody says, "Hey, hi, prof." I don't know. I can't recognize. Kairunisa says, "Purple cow." For sure, I know this must be my student. And on top of that, she was actually listening. So the new P, guys, and it's easy to remember as well, is the purple cow. And this is how, what you should do when you think about it, and you should apply it. Okay, so there you go. Now you've seen many cows, right? There are many, many good products out there, good everything, right? They're boring. They're just normal. Boring, do not stick out, not even the best, right? But the purple cow will stick out. It'll stand out, right? So you need to make your product, because your resources are limited, right? You don't have enough resources. For sure, any company will have that problem. So now you want to try and do something remarkable for sure. All right, guys. So there are many ways to think about this and to consider this, right? One of the ways to differentiate your customers, right? Look for a niche, right? Have people in your organization that think along those lines and try to figure it out. People who are thinking or reflecting, right? Do something different, explore the limits, do some testing, especially if you're a large organization, more so you should do that, right? You can even set up a spin-off company, right? If I'm running telecom, for example, yeah, telecom, we're doing very well, fine, but then the future is still challenging, right? And there'll be more and more competition with solar power and so on. So I put site in charge. I say I'm going to set up a small little division, put site in charge, right? And to make sure that they think about this, right? And I put Jessica to check his KPI, of course, because otherwise I don't know what he'll be doing. But Jessica, so Side, you're laughing, isn't it? When I put you in charge, happy already, but you didn't know I'm going to put Jessica to check your KPI. Your
Hope I got
JD.
a raise. I hope I got a raise after that.
So anyway, but the most important thing, guys, and this is sangat penting, tell the truth. Tell the truth to your staff, tell the truth to your customers. Be upfront, right? In a sense, it's very important because at the end of the day, if you do that, this is for the long term, for sustainability, right? As they say, you can cheat some people some of the time, but not all of the time. And that is very true, right? So you keep that integrity, that honesty, that must be there. If you have that, and that will help you to go far as well, for sure. Okay, so be innovative, right? Be remarkable. This is what we're saying. Okay, remember, you cannot be remarkable by following someone else who's remarkable. If somebody else is already doing it, then it's not working so well. Right? You're going to have to try to think a little differently. Okay, so today's way to compete strategically despite your limited resources, right? The purple cow approach. when your resources are limited, when you don't have enough, what can you do, right? And you will find that all the airlines, all industries will have this problem. There's always not enough. So how do you do more with less? Okay, so that's it. That's the learning and for today, for your for today's learning. That's right. Yeah. Does that make sense to all of you?
Yes,
Yes, Prof.
Yes,
You
yes,
understand?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So
Yes.
if you were listening and reflecting, then you're thinking about your own company, you're thinking about your assignment, different industries, different companies, different products, and different ways that you can use, right? So hopefully you enjoy. I'm so sorry I took a little bit longer because I was telling you some of my own stories. No.
Hi, Prof. Sorry, where
no
can I
problem,
get
Prof.
the slides that you presented just now?
Don't know. They're in the cloud somewhere. Who's asking me this question? I don't know. Who's asking me?
I cannot find it in Xerox. The slides
Yeah,
that you
it's not
Yeah,
uploaded
it's
yet.
not
yes.
yet
Also,
in
I also
Xerox,
about to
Prof.
ask.
Not in Europe, you say? Strange.
Guys, I have forwarded to the groups. You can see it.
Who's this? Who forwarded?
Me, Ashraf.
Where do you find
How
it,
do you
Ashraf?
find
Yeah,
it?
lor.
In Eurox.
Oh, guess what?
But we couldn't find it even since morning. I was searching for it.
Actually, I think it's in the files folder.
Actually, yesterday, I did upload. It's under week 4. However, today I discover there is no notes anymore inside there. Actually, it's under week 4.
What about
But
week 2?
not week 2, but week 4 because
Can you
I
check?
just moved.
Ashraf, did you get it from week 2 or where?
It's under week 4 previously.
Yeah, correct.
But now?
It's
Now, no.
disappear.
Is this magic show lah, this one? Can it be? Hold on, let me check. Can you check under week 2? I'm so sure I saw it there. Can y'all check on week 2?
Week 2 is empty, Prof.
Yes,
Empty.
there is two. There is two units.
in
We
week 2.
cannot
Yeah,
click it.
but we cannot download anything. Yeah, we just can see.
But the week 4 also empty, right? Week 4
Yep.
also empty, man.
No, there's no any
It's all
attachment over
empty
there.
except for week 1.
Oh, week
Can you
week
check?
6, there's something
Yeah,
in
week
week
one
6.
only had the
Check week 2,
Three-
week 2.
Yeah, 3, 4, and 5 is empty, right? Am I
Yeah,
correct?
yeah, all
it's
empty.
empty.
Right, correct.
Atika, can you check? Week 2. Atika.
No attachment.
I think
Okay.
only
Refresh
one
lah.
have. Yes.
Yeah, now have already now.
Nice.
Yes.
Magic. It's magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it
Magic
already.
show, magic show.
Yes,
It
Prof.
appears in week 4.
Purple.
Yes,
Then
got it.
Not in week
Yes,
4,
now
it appears
can see,
in week 2. So if you don't watch week 2, it'll appear in week 1.
Okay, now can see. Yeah.
Is there? Okay, never mind. The point is, yeah, it's good lah. It shows that you're checking. I'm glad. Right, guys. So that's the end of the class. Actually, we're well and done. But what I want to do now, for those of you who want to stay, is to check a few things. Few things are just some points, guys. One is there's a WhatsApp group already. I'm not sure if you're aware. I set up a WhatsApp group very quickly, and I think all of you should be on the WhatsApp group. Sangat penting. If you're not on the WhatsApp group, please know that you're out of the loop. You have to be on the WhatsApp group because any last moment thing will always be on the WhatsApp group, right?